Hi, I'm Justin. Here's me in the spring of 2019, running the Lake Sonoma 50 miler in California without a care in the world. Fast forward to November 2021, and there's a lot of this going on. Yep, diarrhea for days, weeks, and indeed months. In case you're wondering what that's like, it's awful. While I waited to find out what was wrong, I lost almost 2 stone, which meant there wasn't a lot of me left. So I went to hospital. They stuck a camera on my bum, and bingo, they discovered I had ulcerative colitis, an incurable, but in my case not life-threatening, inflammatory disease of the bowel. I got some medication and started the long road back to fitness. I walked. Well, this is delightful. I did some time on the bike. I got out into nature and pretended to be an aeroplane like an 8-year-old. I fell over, also like an 8-year-old, and my right leg turned green. I ran around some woods to replicate the terrain of the race I'd now entered. Inevitably, I got COVID. That was a fun week. I tried to take my dog Hooper running with me, but half the time he just wanted to sit down. Or play. But every now and again he would actually run, and it was great having company. He's less helpful when you're trying to do stretching, but I was sure there would be times in my race when I'd have to pet a dog, so this was all good practice. I hydrated with the best drinks on the market. This is a joke. Definitely do not drink Windoline. I even made a short comment on the weather. See this? This was all fields when I was a lad. Now it's a lake. Suddenly, race day was upon me. So I gathered up my race nutrition, half of which I wouldn't eat, obviously, and after being rudely awoken by a 5:45 alarm, I set off to Buckinghamshire in the southeast of England. The race is the Wendover Woods 50, a 50-mile race run by Centurion Running, set in, you guessed it, Wendover Woods. It's a lap race with participants making 5 10-mile loops with more than 10,000 feet of ascent and descent. The route itself is a wiggly one, but as I was to find out, incredibly well marked. I registered, had one final poo, don't worry, I'm all good these days, and we were off. Look at them go. The course has numerous signs put up by Centurion, who have named certain sections, which proved a nice way of keeping track of where you are each lap. It didn't make the ascents any less steep, but at least you knew where you were. There was a chest-high horizontal tree on Chiltern Screaming, which got harder to limbo under the further you went on. And there was the ankle-terrifying root canal section, which amazingly I got through without breaking anything. After 5.5 miles was the halfway aid station, Hale Lane, for snacks, drinks and a sit-down if you needed it. Then it was onwards, up and down the boulevard of broken dreams, up the Snake, and eventually to Narking Around. Finally, there was railing in the years before yet more climbing and back to the main aid station, which would also be the finish. For lap 2, I hired an eagle to film some aerial shots of the course. This is all he got, so I won't be using him again. He then handed the camera over to a badger, which was also a mistake. But it was a lovely, climate-changingly warm November day, and I even found time to say so without falling over. Well, this is nice. After some more running, walking and scrambling, lap 2 was done. On lap 3 I saw my old pal Spencer and got papped myself while taking in the autumnal finery of Wendover Woods. The sun shone and I gazed joyfully at it to take my mind off my ever-tightening quads. It's not the 10,000 feet of ascent that gets you, it's the 10,000 feet of descent. 3 laps down, 2 to go. A shout out at this point to the wonderful Centurion volunteers both at the aid stations and all around the course, directing traffic and showing support throughout the day and night. Thank you so much. The sun set on the Gruffalo and the woods while I plodded my way round the 10-mile loop for a 4th time. I shuffled on in the dark and for the most part saw no one. The Blair Witch Project hardly crossed my mind at all. After seemingly forever, I crossed the finish line and pointed at my medal as instructed by the photographer. Unsurprisingly, my lap times increased, but comparative to other runners, perhaps not as much, as evidenced by my climb in the rankings, confusingly shown here as a downward line. My pre-race goal, aside from not experiencing Poomageddon, was to pace myself as evenly as possible, fuel consistently, and finish in around 12 hours. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Mostly though, I'm relieved that despite having ulcerative colitis, I'm lucky that with daily medication and a few dietary adjustments, I'm still able to enjoy my running. This is a really tough but great race, like all Centurion events. Watch out for those descents though.